Darwin's conception of evolution rests on the premise that there is a real genetic change from generation to generation. In other words, he rejects the Platonic eidos for a species, whereas Krishna, God, says that he is the generating seed of all existences. Darwin would reject the existence of a particular seed for a particular type. There are no fixed species, but shifting, evolving physical forms, constantly changing. No, the forms are already there from the beginning of creation. There is evolution, however, but Darwin thinks that this is an evolution of the body. That is incorrect. The body never evolves, but the soul within the body evolves and transmigrates from one body to another. The soul is within the body, and as he desires, he evolves. A man may desire to change apartments, and he may move from one apartment to another. But it is the man who is doing the changing, not the apartment. According to the Vedic conception, the soul evolves, not the body. Darwin originated the doctrine of natural selection and survival of the fittest. An animal, he maintains, will develop in a way that is best suited for survival in his environment, and he will pass on his superior qualities to his offspring. Some species survive, and others, not so suitable to the environment, die out. Prabhupada. A snake gives birth to many hundreds of snakes at a time, and if so many snakes are allowed to exist, there will be a disturbance. Therefore, according to nature's law, the big snakes eat up the small snakes. Nature's law is not blind, because behind it there is a brain, and that brain is God. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kontiya jagad viparivartate. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, text 10. Whatever is taking place in material nature is being directed by the Supreme Lord, who maintains everything in order. When one species becomes overly dominant, nature arranges to curb it. According to the theory of Maṭhas, whenever there is overpopulation, there must be some war, epidemic or earthquake. These natural activities do not take place by chance, but are planned. If Darwin says it is a matter of chance, his knowledge is insufficient. Darwin. Darwin also sees a plan or design in nature. Śrīla Prabhupāda. If you see a plan or design, you must ask, whose design? As soon as you admit that there is a design, you must admit a designer. It is nonsense to say that nature is simply working mechanically. If so, there must be some mechanic to set it in motion. The sun rises exactly to the minute, to the second, and the seasons also come according to plan. Behind the great machine of nature there is a brain that has set it in order. We explain the original source of everything as Brahman, the absolute truth, Krishna. Scientists admit that they do not know where things are coming from, but when they see them, they suddenly claim to have invented them. But that is not invention. These things are already there. Darwin. From scientific research, it is concluded that through the years, animals have evolved towards more and more complex forms, from very simple forms found in the sea to more complex forms, such as dinosaurs and so on. These forms eventually died out, and other forms evolved from them. Śrīla Prabhupāda. When you say they died out, you mean that those animals no longer exist on this earth. But how can you say that they are not existing somewhere else? Now, according to Darwin's theory of evolution, the human body evolved from the simians. Darwin. He claimed that they are related, that they come from the same ancestor. Prabhupada. That is another thing. Everything is related, but he claims that the ape's body or monkey's body developed into a human body. If that is the case, why haven't the simians ceased to exist? We can see that apes, monkeys and human beings are existing simultaneously. Scientists cannot prove that no human being existed eons ago. If man evolved from the ape should no longer exist. Kaya Karana. When the effect is there, the cause is finished. Darwin. It is not that the monkey caused the man to exist. Rather, they came from a common ancestor. Śrīla Prabhupāda. We say that we all come from God, the same ancestor, the same father. The original father is Krishna. Sarvayonishu Kanteya, Moteya Sambhavantiya, Tasam Brahma Mahajjoni Ahambija Pradapita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter, text 4. Darwin. Any rate, according to Darwin's theory, there is an evolution from simpler forms to more complex forms, from small one-celled animals to more complex animals like man. Śrīla Prabhupāda. But at the present moment, the simple forms are existing along with the complex. It is not that the simplest developed into the most complex. My present body has developed from my childhood body, but that childhood body is no longer existing. Presently the species are simultaneously existing. Darwin. But they find no evidence that all these complex forms existed in earlier times. Śrīla Prabhupāda. Earlier times or modern times are not in question. When I see all the 8,400,000 species still existing, where is the question of development? You may not know or have evidence that these forms existed long ago, but that is due to your imperfect knowledge. These species are all existing now, and they were existing millions of years ago. You may not have evidence of this, but that is a different thing. We accept evolution, but we also accept the fact that the species are all existing simultaneously now. If they are not existing on this planet, they are existing on some other. Of course, Darwin had no chance to study that. We accept the proposition that there is an evolutionary process from aquatics to insects to birds to animals and to humans, but we do not accept Darwin's theory that one species becomes extinct as another survives. All are existing simultaneously. Darwin. But there are many forms that are extinct on this planet. Śrīla Prabhupāda. But has Darwin seen all the planets and all the universes? Has he the power to see everything? Since our powers are limited, we cannot conclude that a particular species is extinct. Of course, the scientists do not accept the fact that our senses by which we are gathering information are limited. But they are. It is not possible to excavate the entire earth. We can only take samples. Our first charge against Darwin is that human life was always existing. He cannot prove that at a certain time there was no human life. It is not that the bodies of the species are changing. These bodies are already there. Rather, the soul is changing bodies, transmigrating from one body to another. And this is actual evolution. It is the evolution or progress of the soul from one body to another.